Live.
Okay. Give me a few.
Give you a few. I thought you said go live.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to edit the beginning of this video because it's live now.
Here we go.
That's live.
Intro
That's
is
live
playing.
for you.
Intro's playing.
Oh,
That's right. We got an intro. Remember?
which one is it?
The original with the Exorcist and Jason and Freddy. Exorcist. Linda Blair is like screaming. Here's Barbara Crampton screaming. She knocks off the dude's head. Here's Danielle Harris with Return of the Living Dead.
All right.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Horror Syndicate Live. This is our 14th episode, so thank you for joining us. We had a rock star episode last week, last Friday, actually, when we covered Friday the 13th, everything Friday the 13th, from the Women of Horror and Friday the 13th to the Jasons to Pamela Voorhees, who was played by Betsy Palmer. We did a tribute video at the end. And we just had a wonderful time, and we were so glad that a lot of people were there to join us for that wonderful episode. Tonight, we're going back to our regular format. We're going to be covering our Woman of Horror, our individual Woman of Horror tonight. We're going to have Jared's Bloody Streaming Roulette. We're going to talk about the VHS at Midnight, which actually was a success, over 1,000 viewers. So thank you for participating. And not to mention the Friday the 13th episode had nearly 1,000 views as well, which is huge. So thank you for the support. Keep supporting the little people.
Thank you, everybody.
So, but as we get into this episode, we're going to do our roundtable introduction. Starting with myself, my name is Brian Enright. You can follow me on Facebook at Brian Enright. You can follow me on Twitter at The Horror Jew, or you can follow me on our Instagram as The Horror Jew. Up next, we have Jared. Jared, good evening.
Good evening, boils and ghouls. Glad to be here again. You can follow me on Facebook at Jared Letourneau or on Twitter at zombie_survivor. Quick shout out to Ghetto. Thanks for watching as usual. Glad to be here.
All right. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we have Morgan Jewell. Good evening, Morgan.
Good evening, and you can follow me on Twitter at Morgan_Jewel_S.
All right, very cool. Thank you very much, Morgan. Up next, we have Sci-Fi's one and only Rayzilla.
Good evening, horror fans. It's your old Uncle Ray Zilla here. Semi-conscious, heavily medicated, here in my lair, located somewhere off exit 18E of the New Jersey Turnpike. And if you like absolute nonsense, follow me on Twitter, please, at RayzillaNJ. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you very much, Rayzilla. So tonight we have our main topic of the evening. We have John Carpenter. We just celebrated his 69th birthday on Monday. I like to call him my idol. He's been in the business for a very long time. Starting out with a college film he did with Dan O'Bannon called Dark Star. But before we get into John Carpenter, we're going to cover some of our earlier segments tonight. Up next, we have Jared covering his Bloody Streaming Roulette, a program which he does every week. Jared, what do we have for this week?
This week, I dived deep into the depths of Netflix to pull this one out for you kiddies. It is actually the third chapter of the Cabin Fever franchise. Bro. Looks like it stars Sean Astin and a couple other people I've never heard of.
Say the title again. You cut out right there. Say the title one.
Cabin Fever. The third installment of the Cabin Fever franchise.
There you go.
It's supposed to be a prequel to the other two.
I'm glad that was the depths of Netflix that you reached into. I was afraid you were going to reach into the depths of something else. So I'm glad it was Netflix. I got concerned and then I pulled back. So thank you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
A lot of people didn't really like Cabin Fever. I actually thought it was enjoyable. Eli Roth did pretty good making it a nice, gory, gross fest. bit of a letdown, but it was directed by T West or Ty West, so he's always cool in my book. But I don't know. By the way things are going, this one might be even worse than number 2. So cross our fingers.
As if there's something worse than number 2.
But that's what we got coming up for Friday. So if you want to hear my thoughts or see my thoughts on the website, check it out Friday.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Jared. Up next, we're going to talk a little bit about VHS at Midnight. It's our sister page that we have. You follow VHS at Midnight at Midnight VHS presentation. Last week, we played Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan, and we had over 1,000 views. And people really enjoyed it. So I hope to continue to up the ante and bring everyone more content and more interaction with the hilarious movies I have on VHS. That I have a lot that are out of print, and I have a lot that are cult classics. So we'll see what the next double feature is for Friday. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited too. And yeah, so but if you would like to purchase a VHS at Midnight shirt, the link will be up later this week, and all funds will go towards this, towards our community, the Horror Syndicate, and everything that we support. So thank you, and I hope that you follow VHS at Midnight presentation, because we have a lot of great shit for you every fucking Friday, double feature. All right, so that being said, we are going to go into our first segment of this evening. Well, it's actually our second. We're going to talk about our Woman of Horror, and then we're going to get over to Rayzilla, where Rayzilla has some horror news for you, boys and girls. So up next, we have our Woman of Horror. And that person is Barbara Crampton. Barbara Crampton, she was seen in Chopping Mall. She was seen in Reanimator. Guys, help me out here. What else was she in?
She was just recently in We Are Still Here. That was a great flick.
She was also in From Beyond, Puppet Master, Trancers 2. It goes on and on and on. Chopping Mall, Space Truckers. One of my personal favorites, Castle Freak. I have to confess that when Reanimator came out back in 1985, I had just a little bit of a crush on Barbara Crampton back in the day. I will freely admit. Never met her. I never got an autograph. I never got to see her at a convention or anything like that. If she did conventions, I must have missed them. It was a long time ago, and the memory, the mind begins to go. So I don't recall seeing her doing the convention circuit actually back in the day. Unlike Jeffrey Combs or Stuart Gordon would make appearances at conventions when they had films to promote. But she's a real favorite of mine, and she moved on into mainstream television with The Young and the Restless, and did a number of years in daytime soaps, and really kind of left horror behind. But it's nice to see her back in again and doing some quality films. What was the last thing you saw her in, Jared?
We Are Still Here from 2014. It's a kind of a possession ghost movie, ghost haunted house movie.
Oh, yes. I see it listed here. She was nominated for a Fangoria Chainsaw Award for Best Actress with that movie.
Yeah. It was kind of a lower budget film, but it was very, very, very good.
It was great to see her in You're Next. You're Next was one of my favorite films from that year as well.
Oh, shit. I didn't know she was in You're Next.
Yes.
That movie was a pleasant surprise, too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed You're Next. I caught it at the American Film Market before it was theatrically, and I just raved about it. Hey, I think we have been joined by Herr Baron.
Baron?
Greetings.
Are you?
Yay!
Success.
He is with us. Ladies and gentlemen, it really isn't the Horror Syndicate without a full boat. And here we have the Baron. Baron, introduce yourself. We went around to everybody, but let everybody know who you are and what the hell went wrong, Baron.
Yes, greetings all. Had a small problem. It seemed that Windows wanted to do a download or an update or something like that, and that just screwed everything up on the firewall. So you guys know where to find me on Twitter under Baron_Craze. You guys also know to find me on Facebook and, of course, the Baron's Crypt. And now we're also relaunching the Baron's Crypt Unleashing Horror show on Saturday nights, too, because I just don't have enough work to do in my life.
Well, I definitely have to turn into the new show, Baron, because I've always tuned into every new show that you promote, and I stick with you for a while. So I'm really looking forward to this new show. Any description of the layout you want to give to the viewers right now?
Yeah, I mean, Unleashing Horrors is basically a show that tells you what the latest horror films have come out for the past week. A lot of websites and are kind of discontinuing this, or they tell you what you should buy, and I don't do that. But I am keeping a running total of how much money it would cost you if you bought every single movie that's being released. And let me tell you right now, we're already up to about $280 on just 2 weeks into the new year. So it's a show. Oh, and one other thing. A lot of the films don't have a tagline, so I'm coming up with a tagline for each film. Some gods know they need some really good help.
Awesome. I just want to clarify that we do apologize for the inconvenience, but our president and Fuhrer Ray Zor will be joining us for the next episode. So I do apologize, Ray, if you are listening. We can't wait to have you back, man, and we're looking forward to hearing from you very soon.
Yep.
Much love to you, brother. But up next, Ray Zilla has a segment he would like to bring to us. Not so much a segment, but what's going on in the horror news, and I guess he's going to talk about and bring up some open discussions. And you're definitely available to join us on the Facebook live chat as we're streaming along. And if you have any questions or if you have any comments you want to make about the news that Ray Zilla is going to go over, feel free to blow us up. We're available, and we will have someone answering you. We'll even give you a shout out on the site as well. So Ray, what do you have going for us tonight? This is something new.
Yeah, this is something that I hope that I can bring to the Horror Syndicate each week as I go through the trades, as I go through the various magazines and blogs that are out there that give that give out information of what's going on in the broader spectrum of television. And then what I do is I go in there and I find the things that I think that our listeners and our viewers would be interested in hearing about. So yes, ask questions, chime in on Facebook, please. We want to hear from you. We want to hear your questions. So here we go. This week, as a matter of fact, today is the last day of the TCA. Now, the TCA takes place every year in Los Angeles, and that stands for Television Critics Association. And it's a kind of a week-long kind of gathering of journalists from North America. So we're talking about the United States and Canada. And they gather in Los Angeles, and the various cable networks and producers and movie studios have panel discussions. They do announcements, they do presentations, and there's also an award show. And so over the course of the week, several studios make several announcements. And here's a few of the things that have come out from TCA this week. One of the first things to come out, if anybody's a fan of the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Jessica Biel is going to star and exec produce in an anthology series called The Sinner. Now, The Sinner is based on the book of the same name, and this is going to be produced for USA Network. Now, Biel plays a mother who commits shocking acts of violence. And Bill Pullman is also in the series, and he portrays an investigator drawn into her journey of self-discovery. So this is a series being an anthology series called The Sinner, being put together for USA Network.
Well, I certainly hope the Schwartz is strong with Bill Pullman.
Yeah, I can't recall his last series. So she's going to star and exec produce in that. So we'll see how that goes for USA Network. some news was announced from FX Network. American Horror Story was renewed for 2 more additional seasons, in addition to its previously announced 7th season. The news was announced at FX Network's presentation at the TCA Winter 2017 on Thursday. And here's a quote. American Horror Story launched the modern limited series revolution, and as evidenced by the most recent installment, Roanoke, it remains as vital today as when Murder House stunned audiences 6 years ago. So each new chapter is a cultural event, beloved for every new twist in imagery, style, cast, and plot. And they're thrilled that Ryan Murphy, Brian Falchuk, and the entire creative team will continue to deliver groundbreaking, celebrated American Horror Story for years to come. So you're looking at seasons 7, 8, and 9. Now, for American Horror Story's 7th season, Murphy noted that the show would not be going back in time. This is going to be a modern-day story, he told reporters, adding that American Horror Story veterans Sarah Paulson and Evan Peters would both be back.
Yay!
So there's news for American Horror Story.
Much to the chagrin of Brian, I'm sure.
You know what? As much as I dislike American Horror Story, I've come to terms that it's horror. It's may not be a horror for everyone, but it's a horror show that is bringing in the general public. And in order to save this type of genre, I've come to realize that we need things like American Horror Story, because it's not only bringing in horror fans, but it's also bringing people who are quite squeamish to the genre itself. So and it also has, you know, famous actors and musicians, say like Lady Gaga, Kathy Bates, Jessica Lange. You know, it's just an all around very popular show, and I'm kind of excited to hear that it's on for 2 more seasons. To me, it could be worse. It could be The Walking Dead, where they're just adding on seasons and it's just beating a dead horse with another dead horse. So, but I hope the best for American Horror Story and for Walking Dead as well. But yeah, that's all I have to say about American Horror Story.
Do you have anything else, Rayzilla?
Well, yeah, sure. The news continues out of TCA. Let's see. It looks like the X-Files may be back again. There's been talk that the Fox drama, which was revised for a 6-episode run last season, would return. And it was announced that we hope to be able to announce something shortly. Fox, this is coming from Fox Entertainment President David Madden. So they're going through the numbers and they hope to announce something soon. So another installment of X-Files is definitely on somebody's radar over at Fox. So that could be good news. Additional news coming out of Fox is the series The Exorcist. Soft ratings have kept the Fox Freshman series from a season 2 order, but stronger delayed viewing, DVR, is keeping the possibility alive. So Madden also says, quote, "We can't make a decision yet." So no decision yet on whether The Exorcist is going to get a second season or not. Right out of the horse's mouth, you can't get it any plainer than that than the president of the network. Yeah. Let's see.
I hope it does.
I haven't seen it. Have any of you seen it?
Yes. Nope.
No.
Really? Definitely want to make a trip to go see it now that it's collecting all this buzz. I still have yet to see Hannibal, and I heard Hannibal is a fucking phenomenal show as well. But Jared, you said you've seen The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very watchable. I mean, Gina Davis does very good as the mother. It takes away from the original storyline quite a bit, but I mean, it's definitely watchable. I mean, I don't know how long that plot line can keep going. So, I mean, obviously there's probably a deadline.
Well, we can only see American Horror Story still surviving. So what else do you have for us, Ray?
All right, well, shifting over to the movies for a minute, Underworld, Blood Wars, opened to $13.1 million at the box office its opening weekend. The budget was estimated at $35 million. So going into its next week, it fell, taking in $6 million, bringing the total to around 24.9. They'll probably, after international sales and DVD, the movie surprisingly will probably turn a profit. It's amazing they make these movies for so little, 35 million. They look bigger than that, the Underworld films, but they make them for little money. But anyway, the 2-week total is 24.9 million. Let's see, American Movie Classics. AMC released the official synopsis for the second half of The Walking Dead Season 7, which returns Sunday, February 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you want to write that down, Season 7 kicks off Sunday, February 12th at 9 p.m. The first half of the season saw Rick and the group broken by Negan, forced to fall under his will and live under his rules. The second half focuses on preparing for war and gathering the supplies and numbers needed to take Negan down.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's very exciting.
So,
you know, a lot of people have not liked this season. You know, like you said before, Ray, it was proven and shown on cable ratings that Walking Dead actually dropped a lot of viewers, but it's still at a phenomenal, you know, high rate, and it's just not going anywhere. But a lot of people are angry with this season. I think that I'm pretty excited to see what Rick has to do in order to win his team back and take control, because I am kind of tired of seeing Rick cry a lot, because he was badass up until, you know, he saw Glenn die and Abraham.
Well, there was definitely a sharp decline in the ratings clearly after the season premiere, and then subsequently after that there was a definite decline in the ratings. Whether that had anything to do with the election, whether it had anything to do with competition, whether it had anything to do with viewer fatigue, we won't know really until the next season emerges, and that's going to be February 12th, folks. So you may want to check that out. AMC also ordered a documentary from James Cameron called "The Story of Science Fiction." This is going to be a 6-episode series which explores the evolution of film and television and science fiction genre. So AMC obviously making a move to try and keep their genre audience, because you know, that's something that's their bread and butter. You know, Mad Men is gone, Breaking Bad is gone, Walking Dead is, you know, even though Walking Dead is in decline, those numbers other networks would kill for. So it'd be very interesting to see how AMC works to hold on to their audience. But that's the news that I have. So back to you, Brian.
All right. Thank you very much, Ray. I really appreciate that. Those tuning in, we just covered our new segment. We're going to have Syndicate News brought to you by the one and only Ray Zilla. So up next, we have our main topic that we're going to be discussing tonight. And it was kind of, wrapped around last minute, but we're going to talk about it today because it definitely deserves a recognition as well. The master of horror himself, John Carpenter, not only is my favorite director of all time, but he just recently turned 69 years old, and he is still working. In fact, he's right now he's touring with his son and his band, and they're doing they're touring with all of John Carpenter's movie music, and pretty much his themes from his movies and his new album, Lost Themes 1 and 2. So I hope to hear more news from a returning date of when he is going to be doing the second album. You can follow his son, actually, Cody Carpenter, and he's actually on SoundCloud, and his band is called Ludrium. Right now he's at 500, but I could see him moving up right now. He just introduced that he's going to be doing a complete synthwave vocal album, and you can check that preview out under Lou Dream's SoundCloud profile. And it's about 8 minutes long, but it has previews of all of his different songs, including vocals from his son, Cody, as well. But we're going to get into it tonight. Director John Carpenter, 69 years old. He started out with a movie called Dark Star with his friend Dan O'Bannon, who later on went to go do the Alien movie. He went to go later do the Alien movie with Ridley Scott. And then he, eventually down the road, he began to not only write but direct a movie called Return of the Living Dead, which was written by John A. Russo, the original writer of Night of the Living Dead. And then the script was of course, changed into a 80s punk horror with a bit of a comedy and a bit of a parody on Night of the Living Dead. So John Carpenter, well, who remembers their first time that they saw a John Carpenter movie and how you felt when you saw it? Anyone can start.
Well, I guess I'll go. I've literally only seen like Halloween and The Thing, but I saw Halloween when I was really little. Well, not in full, but parts of it, and I was just like, this is creepy. So, yeah.
How old were you?
That's all I got. I don't know, probably like really little. Like my mom loves horror, obviously. We've said that before. And we had them playing, every Halloween season, like whenever they came on TV, and she would play them. So I'd like kind of watch like snippets of the movie.
That's right, because Halloween becomes like the Christmas Story, where TBS plays 24 hours of Christmas Story. You have ABC Family playing the Halloween anthology. I get it.
Why did you watch snippets? Were you too frightened to watch the whole thing?
Well, I was like really little.
But was it on tape?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I think
it was what you could sneak
sometimes peek. It popped. I remember like watching it like through the window, like I was outside and like watching some through the window and that into the living room. I remember that.
Creeper watching. Nice.
You were so scared that you couldn't be in the room to watch it. You had to go outside and watch it through the window. Is this what you're telling me?
Apparently. Exactly what she's saying. Exactly what you.
No, well, that's great. But that's great. I mean, that's a horror film. I've said it 1,000 times. The goal of a horror film is to leave the audience feeling uncomfortable, and she was so uncomfortable that she had to... Now, what was your mom's reaction to this? Did she try to get you to watch the movie, or was this involuntary, or was this something like,
no,
hey, come and watch this movie?
I mean, really like neither. I mean, she didn't like try to like stop me from watching it, but she didn't like try to make me watch it either.
So a laissez-faire sort of approach to the whole thing.
Good mom.
Yep.
Parenting done right, because look at what it's done for you today.
Here you are having a podcast with all these grown men talking about horror movies. Little millennial Morgan.
Yep.
It's okay. I'm a millennial with you, so you don't have to feel alone. I don't do yoga and I don't eat kale. That's the only thing about me, that separates me from the rest of millennials. Oh, and I don't mind gluten. Gluten's fine. I thoroughly enjoy gluten. Baron, what was your first experience watching a John Carpenter movie?
I enjoyed it immensely. I watched Halloween. I think maybe it was part 2 I saw first. I don't remember offhand. But I was, of course, the guy who rooted for the good guy in the film, Michael Myers. He was the good one. He was just misunderstood. That was all. He just had some family issues that he was working out in a therapeutic way, and I rooted for him. And part two, he got a little toasted in the movie. I got a little sad. I had a little tear in the eye going, no, that's not right. A burn ward and a couple things, and he'll be back, no problem, as a champion. Yeah, I like the films. I found them enjoyable. The music was quite nice. Something that, if you have children, you want to play for a lullaby, this is great music. Put them to sleep, no problems. You got, when you watch the Halloween films, you got really interested because here's a man who really enjoyed his butcher knives, really got into them as an early child. Maybe he was thinking about being a Gordon Ramsay. Who knows? He was into butcher knives. So, yeah, I like the films. I found them to be quite entertaining and enjoyable. From Halloween, I would say that probably the next one I saw after that would have been a small gap. But I would have to say it was the Assault on Precinct 13.
Okay.
That was the first one I saw. That film, I don't know. There was something about it. You just saw how the gangs had enough and made a pact, and they were just going to have a full-out assault on anything in their path. And how the film just centralized on this one location, which, of course, if you watch it nowadays, you would think, why is the gang only going after one location? Why doesn't it? In the beginning, you see them take down a girl just because, well, she was there. Why don't we see more violence? And the only thing I can say was because of the film budget and such, it's centralized in one location. And the authority being the root cause for their absolute anger. And so the film worked very well. And it maybe, thinking back, it maybe was the first one I saw. I can't remember which one because I found one film and then it kind of just led into the others.
Do you know who the girl was? The little girl? Does anybody know?
Tell us, Brian.
Off the top of my head.
The little girl who got shot in that movie is no other than Paris Hilton's aunt, Kim Richards, who is on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills.
Escape from Witch Mountain and all that.
Escape from Witch Mountain, because she gets shot to death in Assault on Precinct 13. And you know how I know that? Because my wife is an avid fan of all the Housewives TV shows. And I just felt like, I had to mention that I'm glad that you covered that one particular scene, Baron, in Assault on Precinct 13 of the little girl being so fucking annoying and then getting shot to death.
Well, I would have to cover it. It's just my. Who else on the show is going to go that point, right? I would. No problem. You're welcome.
And Baron, your take on Halloween 2 and Michael Myers, it's a shame because that doesn't really translate to the audience. I think more people don't see the sadness that this is actually a tragedy of a man being picked on simply because he's a mass murderer.
Right.
It's just a drag. It's just a drag that more people didn't get that translation coming through the film. But I'm glad that
someone took a drag off his burning body. That was probably the good thing there.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
I saw Halloween in the theater. I was young. I was in I was maybe 13, 14 when Halloween came out, and it was fantastic. I mean, people just screamed and screamed and screamed in the theater. It was very, very, very successful. Again, there was nothing really quite like it. It was almost, and maybe the Baron can help me with this one, but at the time it was even considered Hitchcockian. Certainly one of the great, one of the last great horror films of the 70s. The 70s had, for American cinema, the 70s was a very dirty, gritty period. You had a lot of anti-heroes in the 1970s, characters that walked the line between good and evil, Michael Corleone, Popeye Doyle, and such. And the films were rather dark, and perhaps that was a reflection of the times dealing with the Vietnam War. But Carpenter's films, particularly Assault on Precinct 13, 1976, is a really fine example of 70s American cinema. The films almost have an independent, look to them, an indie look to them. Films like The French Connection and The Seven Ups, and a lot of the heavy crime dramas of the 70s. A lot of people feel that it was the last great decade of American cinema, when you had Taxi Driver and things like that. It was a very dark period, the Godfather films.
Well, also look at New York at that time, Manhattan. I mean, there was so much crime going on. It wasn't until later on where Disney bought out Broadway, and now it's a tourist trap. But back in the day, I have
very vivid memories of Manhattan in the 1970s.
You wouldn't find yourself going through Central Park back in the 70s, as at nighttime, whereas today you can walk through Central Park at night, but there's a curfew. It's not like before.
Oh, it's nothing like what it used to be.
Yeah,
it's absolutely, it's nothing like what it used to be. But seeing Halloween in the theater, it really blew everybody's minds. It was a big hit. Critics hated it, but really it was considered at the time. Some felt it was rather Hitchcockian, almost in its approach. And what I love about Halloween, which was ruined for me in Rob Zombie's remake. What I loved about Halloween is that there is no answer for Michael Myers. He is evil. He is the boogeyman, and in Rob Zombie's remake, he made the decision to kind of, humanize
or justify his behavior.
And, well, not to justify. I don't think that there's, for that sort of evil, there are reasons but never excuses. So, he tried to give reasons, I think, not excuses, but nonetheless, for me, it's more enjoyable that Michael Myers is the boogeyman, that there is no answer. You put bullets in him and he gets the fuck up. That's the fun. That was the secret sauce. That was the juiciness of the first film for me. And then that was it. He became, John Carpenter became a household name almost immediately. He followed it up with The Fog. Well, no, actually, he followed it up. I think he did the Elvis film. The Elvis TV movie with Kurt Russell, which was his first collaboration with Kurt Russell. Then
they became best friends after that, didn't they?
Yeah, Kurt Russell played Elvis Presley. I remember it vividly. It was a big television event back in the day, and that's right. It'd be my hunka burning love.
You can actually find Elvis Presley on Shout Factory. They just released their edition of Elvis Presley. So they had a huge John Carpenter sale on Monday for his birthday, which is very exciting. Jared, what was your first time that you experienced John Carpenter, movie, music, so on?
It was definitely Halloween also. Our fearless leader, Ray, actually said Halloween has the most recognizable score in horror. Do you guys agree?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, most definitely, yeah.
Yes, I would.
And it was so simple, too.
One of the most, I wouldn't say the most, I would probably say the shower scene in Psycho, but other than that, one of, definitely.
But being younger, seeing a couple of his movies at a younger age, there was a couple of his movies that weren't in the horror genre that really stuck with me as a kid. The first one was Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And They Live. I loved them both. I mean, they're not part of his horror categories, but they're phenomenal films in their own right.
Mm-hmm. So, but we covered Halloween. We eventually are going to have a Halloween episode where we just like our Friday the 13th episode, we will discuss all things Mike Myers, and unfortunately, we will cover the Rob Zombie movies as well, just because they have the name and they have Mike Myers and they're part of the franchise. But hey, we don't have to fucking worry about it right now. We can just move on to but we covered Assault on Precinct 13, pretty much everything that had to be covered on Assault on Precinct 13. Kim Richards gets shot, a gang terrorizes the police building, and you have our two heroes, one being an African American. Yay! So, and then you move on to after Dark Star, which was collaborated with Dan O'Bannon and John Carpenter, to Assault on Precinct 13, to Halloween, to Elvis. John Carpenter stepped away from the directing part of the Halloween franchise and wrote and still did the score for Halloween 2, which was the official was the Carpenter death of Mike Myers and Dr. Loomis. But after that, he brought to us a little movie called Escape from New York, which starred Kurt Russell, Lee Van Cleef, and Donald Pleasance as well, and Isaac Hayes as the what was him? He was the Duke. The Duke, A number 1, and also Ernest Borgnine, Adrian Barbeau, and oh my God, what's his name? Come on, people. What's his name? Alien. He's still alive.
I can see the smoke coming out of your ears.
He's a huge smoker. Come on, you guys know his name. He was an alien. He's in a bunch of David Lynch movies. Come on, don't leave me hanging.
Damn it.
Dean something, right?
What?
Dean, Harry Dean Stan.
Harry Dean Stan. Thank you, Baron. Oh my God! I was like, when you're live, ladies and gentlemen, you're put on the spot because you have people watching you and everyone's looking at you saying, "Don't fuck up," and you get carried away and you're getting the train rolling and then you.
Did you see the smoke? Did you see the smoke coming out of his ears? Did you?
I felt the
there
smoke.
Was little puffs of smoke that came out.
I felt the smoke coming out of my asshole, Ray. Okay, that's where I felt the smoke. I felt like I was on fire. But yeah, so John Carpenter.
Send your cards and letters to Brian and Wright at the Horror Jew. We're working blue tonight, folks. It's on the house.
But we have this movie called Escape from New York, and it was I believe it was John Carpenter's first political movie, which later on he had some political elements in his movies later on, but he covered the most of it in They Live, and then he reattacked it again in Escape from L.A. But Escape from New York was the first movie that after Elvis, him and Kurt Russell really got down to it, and they Kurt Russell ended up being his main guy in movies that followed after Escape from New York. Anyone have any memories?
De Niro and Scorsese. Russell and Carpenter.
Exactly. So anyone have anything they want to say about Escape from New York as we're going through the timeline?
Well, it's a terrific movie. I think it's a beautiful looking movie. The post-apocalyptic Manhattan, now a prison, and you think about it at the time that it was done, this was before CG. So this is all matte paintings and models and miniatures and such, and it's a gorgeous looking movie. And if you haven't seen it, gang, and if you're out there watching and you're out there listening, you should be writing these movies down. You should be writing these titles down. If you haven't seen them, you should be checking them out, because Escape from New York is a beautiful looking movie.
That's right, and it was a time before computer graphics really shined. The computer wasn't even like a household item yet. That was later on in the 80s when IBM and Apple brought all the computers and made them household equipments that were more affordable. So this was actually studio computer, and it was mostly practical effects. And one of
matte paintings, a lot of matte paintings. There's a lot of matte work in that. That's painting on glass, and then using optical printers to marry elements together, the live elements in with the painted elements, and it was a very complex process. But today it's all done by computer. But if you look at the landscapes, they had to transform Manhattan into a maximum security prison. Without the aid of computers, and it's a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah, and it also inspired